there was almost like that imposter syndrome kicking in that I felt they're going to find me out. I really shouldn't be here. What am I doing signing up to do this? We got to the start line. They did the whole gun. I'm getting up to the top and I could hear the guy on the speaker say, and we have our first female runner. And I'm thinking, I think that's me. And I crossed the line and they handed me the first place medal. And it was like all my Christmases had come at once.
Welcome to Your Second Act, the podcast that proves that life doesn't have to end at 40, 50, or even 60, because when it comes to living your best life, age is just a number. Hey guys, I'm back. After a week off, I'm back with some exciting news that this podcast is now available on YouTube. While you can still catch the audio version wherever you find your podcasts, you can also watch it on YouTube. And it's interesting how podcasting, which obviously began as an audio medium, is now transitioning to a visual one. And I have to admit, when I first heard that I should possibly move it to YouTube as well, I thought, well, now I have to start making myself more presentable. But, look, I'm all for change, and I understand that many people prefer to connect with people visually. So as well as doing that, I've also launched a private Facebook community page that I'd love for you all to join called Embrace Your Second Act for Women in Their Midlife. It's a safe space where we can discuss anything and everything and connect with like-minded people. So click the link in my show notes to join the community. And now let's get into today's exciting episode. I don't know about you, but turning 50 for me was such a huge milestone. And with just saying the number, it actually felt quite daunting. But my guest today, Julie, decided not to let that number define her. Instead, she embraced an opportunity for growth and adventure. She set herself a challenge to complete 50 new experiences as she kicked off her new decade. And I absolutely love Julie's story, and it's really got me thinking, we all really need to push ourselves out of our comfort zones and just try new things. And in fact, today I gave aerial yoga a go for the first time. It was ridiculous, funny, quite, I guess, empowering in the sense that I was hanging upside down, but also the fitness level associated with it was surprising. So I absolutely loved that I gave it a go and probably will go back. So if you're looking for a bit of inspiration to try new things, you're going to find this episode really motivating. So let's sit back and enjoy Julie's second act. Hey Julie, I've been really looking forward to this episode because, let's face it, it's not every day you meet someone who dives headfirst into the challenge of tackling 50 new experiences in the year that they turn the big 50. But what's truly remarkable is how you just didn't stop at 50. You've taken it to the next level and you've surpassed by going up to over 200 new challenges. And I just am so curious to know how you did it, why you did it. So let's get chatting, and welcome to your second act.
Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I have been so excited to come onto your podcast because actually this is my first podcast. So it is a first on my list of 50 first. So I am super excited and I'm very well. Thank you for asking.
Oh, well, I'm so excited that I could be your first podcast. So I feel that's really special. So thank you. This is great. So let's start at the beginning. What inspired this journey? Like, what was it? Was it the fact that you were turning 50, or was it a need that you had to explore? Yeah, tell me all about it.
Yeah, it was an amazing kind of how it all started. So in turning 50, I was really uncomfortable. I thought I'm no longer in my 40s, like I'm, switching over to the 50s. And so I did sort of start meeting up with people just sort of, to do one-on-ones, to catch up, to have like little celebrations, not just sort of on one day, but on lots of different days. And then we took our kids abseiling and water skiing for the first time. And I really watched them step out of their comfort zone, which seemed to ignite something in me. And I started to sort of get the fire lit, I guess. And then I noticed that a friend on Facebook was posting different posts, and I could see that she was numbering them. And I was really intrigued to see what she was doing. And so I reached out to her, and she said that she got inspired because her mum passed away at age 52. And so she was turning 50 that year. So she wanted to book in 50 experiences for herself to celebrate life. And that was something that her mum didn't get to do after the age of 50. So she really wanted to spend that time, I guess, putting something back into her cup. That really inspired me, and it stayed with me for a couple of weeks, and I really sort of mulled over it. And then I thought, I need to do something. I want to do something as well, because turning 50 was that something shifted in me. And then I found 2 folders full of ideas that I'd been collecting over the years, which I had forgotten about. And I got them. And this is actually one of the folders. I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of things in there.
Yeah, wow. That's a big lever arch folder that's bursting at the seams.
Yeah. And I had 2 of those, and they were packed away. And so I got those out, and I thought, right, I'm going to do something. And then the first post was going out to a musical that I had never seen before. And I thought, okay, this is going to be my first one. And I remember thinking I was so nervous to actually post that on my friend's Facebook page that I waited until 11:30 that night, and I posted it hoping no one would see my post, because I was so nervous that I was declaring that I'm going to do 50 things this year. How is that going to happen? I had no idea, but something in me just thought I've got to kind of keep myself accountable, I guess, and post it. And that was terrifying. It was terrifying.
I know, that can be so terrifying. And also, then you're left accountable. So how did that make you feel? The fact that you put it out there and all of a sudden, I mean, of course you can change your mind. No one's going to hold you at gunpoint, but you don't want to let yourself down. So you want to show that, you know what, I'm doing this. This is something new. So how did that make you feel, just having the accountability and the pressure behind that?
Something in me wanted to go through with it. I don't know if there was ever sort of any doubt of, I don't want to do this. Something, it just grew inside of me to go, I want to do this. And I probably stepped into that. I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. And for weeks in those first, 20 odd ones, I was just so nervous posting each time, because different sort of things would come up for me. I'd be thinking, what are people thinking of this? Is it good enough? There was all this chatter going on. But meanwhile, I'm sort of stepping into these new experiences, which were filling my cup, but equally I was really nervous to share them with everybody that I knew, because I had no control over what they were going to think. But still I was thinking, what are they thinking?
We're human. Of course we think that. But how many people actually put themselves out there like that? Not many. So
no,
you can be really hard on yourself that way.
Yes. The chatter and the narrative was on fire. And luckily I had, people who were checking in, well, not checking in with me, but actually coming and saying, I love, the feedback on the post. I loved it. And I love the connection it was creating with people as well, because people's feedback was so inspiring and uplifting. I'd get on there and I'd, make it sort of a conversation. So it wasn't just, I can't just leave that, that comment. I really want to dive into it and connect with them. And I love that. I thought that was the best platform in connecting with people kind of on another level, because they were watching me be very vulnerable and sharing video and photo and, this is what I've done, and not knowing how any of them would turn out, because they were completely new experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take me, what did you start with? What was your first one? And then how has it evolved from your very first experience?
The first one was, going along to a musical that I hadn't seen with my family. And I think it was that first post and it didn't really matter sort of what it was, but it was actually that declaration of I've turned 50, and I didn't tell everybody that I'd turned 50. So it was sort of going, okay, I'm telling the world now I'm 50. And I felt so uncomfortable because I still had to get used to it myself, like putting on a jacket and going, oh, I don't know if I like this or not, but there was no sort of taking it off. So I really had to and that helped me, I think, step into the acceptance that I'm 50 now. There is no going back. And all I can do is, I guess, move forward. And that probably fueled me even more to be really open to what was going to come up. They just started to evolve. So number 3, I'll never forget, that was when I gave blood. And I have been wanting to give blood probably for the last 20 years, but there was always some reason why I couldn't. Like I was either pregnant or breastfeeding or looking after toddlers or, bringing the kids up, whatever it was, it sort of got pushed to the background and I never did it. And so this was on my list. I remember reading, I had a list of things to do and it was one of them. I'd asterisked it. And I remember thinking, right, I'm doing that this week. I kind of made that decision that now or never, there's no more sort of putting it off. I really want to go and do it. I have no idea what it's going to be like. I hear that it's a good thing, but I don't know myself. That third one, completely, I was convinced that this is what I need to do. So I loved that whole experience of giving back. It was like going and, having a party at the blood donation center. It was such a great experience. I was really fulfilled from it. And again, the comments coming back from people, I just love that connection and unknowingly sort of inspiring other people to
completely
take on new things as well. So that number 3, donating blood, that sold it for me. I was ready to, go. There's no going back. There is nothing in my mind of, not going forward with it.
So what would you say to date? So you've got just over 200 under your belt 2 years later. What would be the most challenging experience that you've set yourself?
Probably, all of them were in some way challenging, but the one that really stands out is probably the Humpty Dumpty Balmoral burn.
Wow.
So this is a fun run up the steepest, it's the steepest, I think, fun run in Sydney.
That's a very steep hill.
Yeah, and it's 450 meters, straight up. So it's really intense, but it's not, you do it in a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. And I've always wanted to do it. And again, because I had this focus on this is the year to do new things, I saw it, it came up on my email. I saw it and I went, right, I'm registering for it. And so the week before it, I practiced, like I ran up the hill one Sunday morning and I did it twice, did it 2 times in a row. And I went, this is so intense. I'm a runner, but I'm not a run up a hill running person.
I was going to say, were you able to do it without stopping?
Yes.
Wow. Yes. I've never been able to do that. Even walking at it, I find tough.
Yeah. I was really, because I hadn't trained for it, I really thought I'm going to, put everything I can into this. And that was it. Like I didn't have any other training between that weekend and when it was happening. Anyway, I turned up thinking there will be hundreds and hundreds of people because it's a fun run. That was in my mind, and I turned up and there weren't hundreds and hundreds of people. There are a lot of people, but they have a lot of different categories. So everyone runs at different times. So my category was the 50 to 59 age group.
Right.
I was so out of my comfort zone. There was almost like that imposter syndrome kicking in that I felt they're going to find me out. I really shouldn't be here because this looks like it's for elite athletes.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was so nervous. I think I went to the toilet probably 3 times just thinking, this is completely, I wasn't expecting it, to be sort of so intense. But I thought to myself, I've come this far. I've turned up. I've showed up. I'm going to do it, regardless of, how I'm feeling. So we get there and there's less than 10 people in my age group race for women.
Because you don't want to make a fool of yourself, do you? You're scared as well. It's like,
Totally.
yeah, I'm doing it, but I don't want other people to think, what the hell is she doing here?
Exactly. And that's what I thought they were thinking. I felt completely out of my league. I really, I thought I shouldn't be here. What am I doing signing up, to do this? Anyway, we got to the start line. The men went first, I think it was. And then, they did the whole gun. I just thought, I'm just going to do my best because that's what's in my control. I can't control anything else. I'm just going to do my best. Anyway, I'm going, and it was so intense, but I'm getting up to the top where the finish line was, and I could hear the guy on the speaker say, and we have our first female runner for the, 50 to 59 age group. And I'm thinking, I think that's me.
Wow.
Because I couldn't see anyone ahead of me, but I wasn't prepared to sort of look behind me because I was, I might have freaked out. But I remember thinking, I think that's me. And I crossed the line and they handed me the first place medal. And it was like all my Christmases had come at once.
Oh my gosh, I can feel it for you. How exciting.
It was amazing. It was going from that complete fear, I'm going to make a fool of myself, to I have just won. I have just won something that I didn't even come here thinking anything of that. And I was rewarded in that way. And
that's amazing.
I actually videoed myself just going, I can't believe what I've just done. And it really sort of catapulted me into another mindset of, wow, if I can do this, what else can I do?
It's so true. And I was going to ask you, what advice would you give to other people who might possibly want to try new things, but they're so scared to, or they're so stuck in their own ways? And it's easy, like we listen to all these inspirational stories and think, yeah, but can I do it? Just like you at the starting line, can I actually do this with these professional athletes? And you did. And actually you came first. So what would you say to somebody who is struggling with that self-belief?
That's such a great question. And I've, in kind of looking at what I've done, I think it's about starting small, like starting with something that takes you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but it's pretty achievable. So, something like I had my first cup of coffee at a cafe. So we'd ordered breakfast and they brought out coffees with the breakfast, but I don't drink tea or coffee. But again, I had this mindset of, I'm going to step into something new that I haven't done before. I'm going to try this cup of coffee. Now, it was achievable because it was there in front of me and I had to be open to it. But my body kind of knew that I hadn't done something like that before. So even that little stepping out of my comfort zone to go, ooh, I don't know. I had thoughts of, well, what if I start liking coffee? Then I'm, going to start drinking it, but I don't really, and so all of these thoughts were going. But in fact, I had it. I had probably half of it. It wasn't really my thing, which was, completely okay. But now I guess I don't have that, I wonder what that will be like. There's no I wonder anymore. I know that that's not, something that particularly works for me, but I know it works for many, many other people. So it's taking those small steps. Like I've done so many little things, but I think they all add up to making a big difference. So in answer to your question, I would just say to people, have that open mindset to to step into, what is something new on a small scale that you could do that might just shift your thinking or challenge a limiting belief. Yes, those small steps that are really powerful. And it was interesting because that Balmoral burn was number 49 out of my 50. I think what helped was doing all of those other little firsts, which gave me courage, belief. I think you mentioned that before, that self-belief, like the self-belief that, I can do this. And it all added up to that number 49 gave me almost the fuel to be able to see that through. So I did that first 50 in the first 3 months. And then after that, I went, I got to keep going.
Wow. Okay. So what was number 50?
Number 50 was a 360 video experience. So I went to an opening night show party, and it was bigger than Ben-Hur. It was quite amazing. But they had this camera that was turning around sort of 360. Or I think you were on a platform and you were sort of going, the camera I think was turning around. And so it was, I don't know how to describe it. It was like a photo shoot, but in a moving way. So, it was, you kind of danced to it and it looked so professional. And we got a copy of it, at the end. But I said to my friend, let's go and do that. Like, that looks like fun, but we had to be, in front of this camera, which I was really willing to do.
It's not easy.
Because, I had done all of these other firsts again, which kind of prepared me to go, let's do this. And my friend, she went, let's do this. And I think she got a lot out of stepping outside of her comfort zone to enjoy that experience, have fun with it. Don't worry about what other people are thinking. And it looked absolutely fabulous. And then on that same night, I got to meet Amanda Keller.
Wow, that's very cool.
I love Amanda. I think she's fun. I've watched her on different programs and we got to talk to her, and it was really lovely because she's really down to earth, just like anybody else. And that was a joy. So I asked if I could get a photo with her. So that was my 50.
Wow, that's amazing. So if I was to ask you, how is the old Julie compared to the new Julie after you've gone through this experience? How have you changed as a person?
I'm much more courageous. I'm much more willing to do something that's new, but to make sure that it's aligned with my core values. So it's got to be meaningful to me. It may not be meaningful to other people, but it's got to be meaningful to me. So I'm quite strong on that because I know what my top 7 core values are.
Yeah, I like that when I read your bio because I thought, how many of us actually know what our core values are? I mean, I don't know. I've got some, but the fact that you know is great.
Yeah. And I think it's that guiding light, like it's that North Star to help us choose, are these experiences, going to fill my cup, or are they because somebody else wants us to do them? So I think I've really gained that self-belief and confidence to go, I'm really clear on my core values, and that really sits well with me alongside those core values. I know that I've grown so much in stepping out of my comfort zone. So that kind of uncomfortable feeling of, I don't know how this is going to go, is a really comfortable feeling now. It's not so uncomfortable. Even though my body goes, it's really uncomfortable, my mind almost goes, yes, but this is where you're going to grow the most. So incredibly powerful. I think I'm more fun. I do more fun stuff.
And your family, how have they reacted to this challenge of yours?
Yeah, good. So I've actually taken them on the journey with me. And amazingly, in that first year when I did the first 100, my eldest was in a year 12 doing the HSC. So I got to experience all these firsts with him.
Yeah.
And he also turned 18 that September of that year as well. So I thought, what can I do that's new? And we actually turned up at the school with these balloons that said 18, like helium balloons, and got the teachers to call him to the office. And he came thinking, oh, maybe, he's done something wrong. But we stood there in the foyer with these balloons and said, happy birthday. And he was actually school captain that year. So it was really, really special because at that same time we had something, my daughter was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes literally in that sort of same week. So we sort of had something really challenging going on, but I really was so committed to my firsts that I kept space for that. And I think out of that, I realized that you can be going through some really challenging stuff, but also make space for the good stuff. And that was a big learning curve.
And make space for you, because it's so important, isn't it? And that's what I'm finding. It's just having a bit of time for myself to really think about what it is that I want, because we get so caught up in everyone else's life, but it looks like, these challenges, you were doing them for you. And yeah, I mean, you've definitely inspired me. And you sent me an email the other day saying, I just did another challenge. What was it called?
The Sydney Skinny.
Oh, no way. How many people did that? This is a nude swim, isn't it?
Yes. So they do different waves. So we had entered one of the last waves. So many, many people had done it before us. It was so, again, I think all of these first prepared me to go, yeah, I'm willing to do that. Again, it was a fundraiser. So I did the call out for raising money, and a lot of the firsts that I've done, Stadium Stomp, the One Walk, there's lots of different ones that I've done that I've fundraised as well, which is even more kind of empowering to be able to give back in that way. But yeah, this, in my head, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so big. I got to strip off in front of people and be naked on the beach. But when we did it, we were all in it together. We were, kind of naked for a couple of seconds, and then we got into the water. And then that swim was just glorious. It was beautiful knowing that, everyone has pulled together to raise money for such a good cause. And you meet people, you chat, we did it, and they come and they give you a sarong when you're coming out of the water. So you actually then cover up. So it's a really sort of short time, but it's just enough to go, you know what, I accept what I look like, the good, the bad, the ugly. It doesn't really matter. Like, the world didn't end because I took my clothes off.
That's very empowering. Definitely.
Incredibly empowering. I was just uplifted for the rest of the day. Now, I did go to Pink the night before, which I think kind of, I was already in a really good headspace and I really enjoyed it. I think I've still got pink in my hair. I don't know if you can see. We did spray pink on our hair.
Of course.
But yeah, then for the rest of the day, and actually I invited a friend. I told her about it, and this is the other really lovely thing about, inviting people to come and do these things with me. And she was very curious about it. And when I had told her that day, she actually signed up before I did. And she texted me and she said, I've signed up. And I thought, right, well, there's no backing out for me. And I signed up straight away. We did it. And what I really loved is that she stepped out of her comfort zone because she was quite nervous about doing the 300-meter swim. You could do a 300 or a 900. And I said, I'll be there with you the whole way. I was nervous about that was my first ocean swim as well. We stayed together. She brought these amazing noodles that had flamingo heads on them, which got all the attention, from other people.
And
they're like, oh my gosh, that's so good. Yeah, it was really good. So we almost kind of floated along, with a bit of a paddle, because it's not a serious swim. It's not a competitive. It's just go at your own pace. And what I loved about her is that she did the 300. She was fine. And then when we got out and we were walking up the hill, she said, I think I could have done that 900. or maybe I could do that next time. And so already she's
Small steps.
absolutely. And that was a joy, a total joy sharing that with her to sort of, give her a space to step outside of her comfort zone and see what is possible for her. So it was such a great day. The challenge is Mondays following the weekend when I do these first, and you got to get back to the washing and the cleaning and the shopping and, the Monday and getting the kids off to school and all of that. So it's, I've had to really find how do I manage that because I've just, expanded my mindset and everything else. It's about still managing that with the day-to-day stuff that we still need to do. So that's been a really good learning curve as well of acceptance that there's still stuff. Yeah.
And it must give you such a sense of purpose because I'm sure you have many more that you want to achieve. And it's exciting. It's like you're booking a trip in the future. You've got something to look forward to. So I think what I love is you're keeping yourself accountable because, I've done the Coast Trek a few times and that was like a really big thing for me. And I achieved and I went, yes. But have I done anything in the last 6 years like that? No. You go back to your old ways again. So the fact that you constantly keep yourself accountable, I think that's quite amazing. And that's not easy to do because I'm sure sometimes you think, I really don't want to do it.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I think I get so much from it. That's what sort of keeps me going. It's kind of the connection with other people. It's like a celebration of life in so many different ways. And as I said, there are still challenges that I need to face each day, but I don't let that dictate kind of how I live. I really do think about, again, my time. What's going to fill my cup so that I can kind of pour it out to people? And this has really become a way of life. So, yeah, the Sydney Skinny was 223. With those folders, I think I've opened them twice.
Oh, really?
In that whole time. So they've actually just evolved. So one of them, now that I'm thinking of it, one of them was a bone density scan that the doctor had given me a referral for probably 11 months before that. And I put it on the pile and then everything else then starts to pile over it. And then it was literally on the bottom of the pile, hadn't done anything about it. And then again, I went, I've got this purpose, as you say, this purpose to tick things off, my list that I haven't prioritized. Like I know that it would be really important for me to do that, but I just didn't carve out time to do it. So I got that referral from the bottom of the pile, pulled it up, made the phone call, booked it in, got the results, really happy. Really happy that I followed through with something that I kind of put to the side, which is like a lot of health checks, I guess, that we experience and go, I'll do that sort of one day, someday. So it felt really good to get that done. And then obviously I'd sort of done other health checks as well. It was about family and friends and fitness and fun and facing fear and fortitude and, all of these F words, good F words.
Yeah.
But it's spanned across so many different aspects of my life. I think that's what, in answer to your question, I think that's what keeps me going because it's very fulfilling on lots of different levels. My faith, for example, was something that I had always sort of kept to myself, I guess, but now I'm really happy to share that faith for me is a really important aspect in my life. And I wanted to go to go to a mass at St. Mary's Cathedral in the city for years. And again, I didn't do it. But then when my son got the invitation when he was in year 12 that they were having a celebration mass there, we got an invitation. And I went, that was what I've been wanting to do for all these years. So it sort of organically happened that way. that my intention was, yeah, I want to try new things. And it's funny how things, start popping up. And it's then about us saying, yes, I'm willing to, give that a go.
I'm a big believer you put yourself out there and doors will open because that's your mindset. You want something, so you're more aware of things. And yeah, that's definitely happened with me. And each time it's like I ask for something or show me or guide me, and then it happens. And I still get amazed by it. I think, wow, you could be feeling down about something or you want to give up, and then a friend calls you or you see a sign, you think, that was for me. Keep going, keep going. And I think that's what the secret is. It's just keep going. Don't allow the narrative in your brain to stop you, because otherwise you'll miss out. And this is the best time in our lives. I really believe it. We're still fit and able, and it's exciting. And speaking to people like you inspire me to try things. I'm actually trying golf for the first time this afternoon. Yeah. So I'm really excited. When a friend of mine asked me to go for a lesson with her, I thought, I just associate that with old people. And I know that things have changed. My husband plays golf. He's so excited because he thinks now I can go and play with him. But you know what? It's just something new. People like you inspire me to get out of my comfort zone and just try something that you never thought you would do before. And that's what makes life exciting. Otherwise, if you keep doing the same old, how do you grow? How do you learn?
Yes, you spot on. I couldn't agree more.
So what is your next challenge that you've set yourself?
Oh, I was actually wanting to do the Bobo cycle, which is this coming Sunday. Like, it's a 57-kilometer bike ride, but I've decided that I've had such a big couple of weekends that I'm going to do that one possibly next year. But what I have started, which I haven't spent any time doing in the last sort of 2 weeks, is doing a 1,000-piece puzzle. And I have never done a puzzle before. And I kind of go, it is so rewarding. So I've started this, big puzzle. I started it, weeks and weeks ago. And if I get sort of just 10 minutes where I can, sit down and just find a couple of pieces, it's so satisfying to find a piece and start creating, the picture. And I speak very highly about puzzles because they're such a beautiful mindfulness activity, which I hadn't considered doing before. So even something as sort of simple as that. So that's what I want to spend a bit more time doing, because I've been off doing all these, other things. But yeah, there's so much more to do.
And you've got a massive folder of ideas as well. With your folder, though, you said that you've been collating these things for a while. Why did you do that?
I've always been someone who enjoyed, I guess, doing new things. And so when we had our kids, when they were all little, we used to do something new kind of every Sunday. And then when they grow up, things change and you don't necessarily do like family things, or they get older and, they want to do their own things. So whenever I see something, I'll rip it out of a magazine, put it into the folder, and it just started to grow over time. I mean, there was one thing in there. It was a cafe over in Middlehead that I had ripped out 15 years ago and thought, that looks like a really lovely cafe to go to. So when my friend was saying, where shall we go? That's when I opened the folder and I found this clipping of this cafe and I said, let's go there. And the amazing thing was, when we went there, it's part of an art precinct and my friend is an artist. And so after we had lunch, it then sort of rolled into going and visiting all these little pockets of artists in this artist precinct. And it became this amazing experience that would not have been created had not, I think I sort of went with my intuition of, I feel that we need to go there for lunch. Something simple. Going somewhere different to have lunch is even, that sort of small step, because you go somewhere new, it creates new conversation just because you're in a new situation and new insights and, yeah, all of this, it starts to kind of have that ripple effect. Yeah, so I just think there's endless sort of possibilities. So I'm yet to kind of dive back into the folder because I found this website called What's On. It tells you all of the different things that are happening in Sydney anyway for the foreseeable future, this weekend or in the next month or whatever. And I just started looking at that. The Opera House had a dance class free in this 1 week for anybody to come along to. And I sort of thought, that's sort of out of my comfort zone. I'm not a dancer. I'm not going to be good enough to go. Anyway, I went and there were people there from 9 to 99 and all just participating how they wanted to participate. And it was the most exciting experience because I got to do a dance class at the Sydney Opera House for free. So a lot of these experiences are free. That was fun because I came out and I was talking to all the security guards and we were getting photos and I was telling them that I was, doing this 50 first because it was sort of early on and they were just going, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to tell my sister to do that. And so again, it was that ripple effect. That was joyful because I got to connect with, new people. So there's probably a story for every first.
Since we spoke a few weeks ago, you had me thinking, and I don't know if I'm ready to do so many of them, but I just really thought, what have you got to lose? Just try something new. And I'm going to be trying in the next few weeks with a friend of mine, aerial yoga, because I think that is going to be fun.
Yes.
A bit play-like as well. I think we need to play a bit more as well and feel like we're young again, jumping on trampolines or whatever it is. So I saw that and I thought, I think I'd really like that. So I'm definitely going to try that.
Oh, I look forward to hearing what you get out of it.
Oh, look, I think life is there for the taking and just go for it. And I think the problem is when people set a goal, they set it so high. And like you said, just do something that is achievable, because if you set it so high and you don't achieve it, then you feel worse about yourself. Have you ever set yourself a challenge that you weren't able to actually meet?
No, somehow they've all been achievable. I did do, and it wasn't in the top 50. I think it was maybe number 98 or something. I did the flying trapeze. So finally, after many, many years, so my husband bought me a gift voucher to do it maybe 5, 6 years ago. And I was too scared. And I went, oh, no, I just wasn't ready to do it. And so I saw an ad for it, I think, and I went, oh, that's, I think I'm ready for it. Number 98. So I've done all of these things and I didn't know how that was going to go. Like I was terribly scared when they get you to do a practice one on the ground and you have to turn upside down and hang from your knees over the bar. So you're upside down. Yeah, that was really uncomfortable. Like I didn't like being inverted upside down. But that didn't stop me from going up on the actual trapeze. But I've got a lady videoed for me the first time I went on the trapeze. And the guy says, when you hit a certain point, then you can lift your legs over and then go upside down. And you hear the guy on the video going, lift your legs up, or do you want to lift your legs up? And I go, no. And I was very clear that no, just hanging and swinging is enough.
Yeah, your limitations.
I wasn't ready to pull my legs up and flip over and go upside down. I think that would take a little bit more to sort of get to that stage. But it's quite funny hearing me go, nope.
Oh, how freeing would that feel?
Yeah, it was so good. And again, I came away just feeling elated. It's just takes you further than what you think you can achieve. And that's really nice because it's almost like I go, yeah, well, what else can I do?
Well, I'm so excited to see where your journey takes you. It's exciting. So you put every single task that you do on Facebook, is that correct?
Yes, I did. So I got to 50 and I did a video on Facebook saying, this is awesome. I can't stop. I'm going to keep going because everyone is expecting me to finish. And I said, no, this is giving me too much for me. Like I'm getting too much out of it to stop. And so then I did, so it's on my personal Facebook page. So then I did do the next 50. And then when I got to 100, I went, I got to keep going. But I'm not going to be posting anymore because doing the post does take a bit of time, you know, working out which photo, because I take lots of photos and videos. But yeah, I still document. I still take video, I still take photo. And it's sort of a celebration as well. Like each time I do it, I reflect on it and go, yeah, you know, I got that and that came out of it. And just, you know, I went through them this morning just to have a look at what have I done? And everyone has its own memory. And it's just this, lovely reminiscing on, wow, that was really fun. Like I held a snake for the first time at Bunnings.
Wow.
Which, you know, I sort of walked past because she, you know, had it there for the kids. And I walked past and I went, and I found myself walking back going, oh, I could do that. Like I felt really uncomfortable doing it, but she put the snake around my neck and, you know, so it's simple. That was free. That was while I was at Bunnings. But again, it's that having that open mindset to go, could I do that? And I went, yes. And I went back and I asked her and she said, absolutely. It was fun. It was just fun. So it's injecting, a little bit of fun.
Yeah, which is important because life can get quite serious and hard sometimes. So it's having that space to have fun, to explore. It's really important. And you as a person, you're evolving. And I think that's what's so exciting and seeing where you can go and what you can do. What is your potential? And I think that's what's so important, especially in this stage of life. So are you enjoying your middle years, even though you've just started them?
Absolutely. I think when I turned 50, I probably felt that I was going into a bit of dread. But in doing this, it's shifted me the other way. And I only have kind of good memories, even though some challenging stuff happened over the last couple of years. That's okay. You know, I've accepted that that's part of life. And so I only have good memories of turning 50 now.
That's wonderful. Well, I can't wait to see what more things you're going to do because you're inspiring me. And hopefully, I'm sure you're going to be inspiring a lot of the listeners as well. And I'm glad you chose my podcast to be your first podcast. So,
Yay.
Congratulations on achieving that. Yay.
Thank you. It's taken a little while, but you really resonated with me. And I thought, it's got to be you. I love the name of your podcast. Everything about it just felt right. And I'm over the moon, that it's my first one.
Well, I'm over the moon you came on. Yes, absolutely. So thank you. Well, I like to end all my episodes with the same question. What do you have now in your second act that you never thought you'd have in your first?
I think it would be probably a voice, like a voice to be able to communicate what I'm really passionate about. This experience has been a very vulnerable experience in putting myself out there with the good and the not so good and the uncomfortable and what you see is what you get kind of thing. And to be able to freely speak about all of that is freeing. I think it's that kind of free to be me. And for many years, I probably did live in a bit of a, what will people think? Am I good enough? You know, the whole narrative, then the stories that we create in our head. And And I feel that I've kind of blasted them. I've sort of faced them and gone, yeah, it doesn't matter, blast that away. So it's almost like, being able to see a greater perspective and a shift in my thinking, which is much more freer than it ever has been before.
Yeah. Oh, well, that sounds amazing.
So being able to have a voice and communicate this on the podcast is gold.
Oh, that's why I love podcasts, because you can say what you like. Doesn't matter. You're speaking your truth. And I think that's what is really important, because we all have our own. It's just having the courage to actually verbalize it. So I am so thankful that you've come on. I wish you all the very best in your second act. And I can't wait to see all the new challenges that you're going to do. And I'm sure there are going to be many more. So by the time you hit 60, how many will you have under your belt? Whoa, 1,000? Who knows?
I think at this rate, I'm probably doing it 100 a year. So, could very well be.
Thank you, Julie, and all the very best. And good luck with it all.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thanks for tuning into another episode of Your Second Act. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could rate and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to me.